Hello guys, welcome to United's Glory. A very mixed day to be a Manchester United fan. Started off extremely well. Leicester City lost 3-0 to Tottenham Hotspurs. Jose Mourinho did say getting his second a few years ago was his best ever achievement. Well, helping us get Champions League right now might be his best ever achievement, because if we play like we did against Chelsea in our final two remaining games, even as it stands, there's a high chance we won't get Champions League, because we will not beat Leicester City playing how we played today. Of course, that's still to come. Today, we had a chance to reach an FA Cup final. We had a chance to basically take on Arsenal, arguably the weakest team left in the semi-finals, go out there and claim an FA Cup and stop Arsenal extending their advantage in terms of FA Cup wins over us. Of course, it didn't happen because we were just appalling today against Chelsea. The worst match we played since Burnley, where we lost 2-0. But let's not pretend this hasn't been coming. Solskjaer got it all wrong. The question marks over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer mainly are about his coaching qualities. He's a very good man manager, seems to get it right in the transfer market, and the players really seem to like Solskjaer. But his coaching leaves a lot to be desired, and we are often let off by the amount of skill we have available in our team. But it was fully on show today how much better coached the Chelsea team were than Manchester United. Sure, Manchester United made a lot of changes. We changed our formation, but we just could not handle Chelsea. Now, the first half, it was a pretty tight half. I think Chelsea's advantage in terms of domination over us was overplayed, especially by Alan Shearer in particular. Still bitter over never winning any titles for Newcastle after turning United down. It was a very tight half and there weren't that much in it. Chelsea did get a goal at the end of the half, which, in my opinion, should never have happened, because as far as I'm concerned, Anthony Martial was through on goal. It was the last man, and he had his legs swept from under him. He beat the Chelsea defender to the ball. He got the ball himself, and the Chelsea defender swept his leg underneath him and made Martial land on his back pretty much. That is a foul. This is not WrestleMania. And ultimately, as per the letter of the law, that is a sending off. He was the last man. Martial would have been through on goal. Unless you think John Terry's ghost is covering for the Chelsea defender, he was the last man. And worst of all, the VAR actually got to check this on replay and still came to the conclusion that it wasn't a foul. Outrageous. Shearer was just being bitter at half time. I don't care what he says. How can anybody watch that replay and say that wasn't a foul? It's beyond me. But I'm not going to put the loss down to that, because quite frankly, we were just awful and second best in every position on the pitch. Chelsea have been well coached by Lampard and his team, and you could see they pressed us from the get-go and continued pressing us every time we got the ball. And we seem to be taking more and more touches on the ball, whereas when we returned from lockdown, we were playing quick 1-2 touch passing. And let's not pretend we didn't see the warning signs against Southampton, who started pressing us, high-intensity pressing where we struggled. We had to get back in the game there. And then we also saw it again against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, who were a team that don't usually press so hard, were pressing us and we were struggling to get the ball upfield. People were putting it down to Matic not playing. I don't think it's anything to do with Matic at all. Matic was playing against Southampton where we struggled. And whilst I said in one of my videos Matic was our best midfielder against Southampton, he takes too many touches on the ball. 4 to 5 touch Matic is what I call him. When we returned from lockdown, he was playing it quickly and forward. Now he wants to take 5 touches on the ball all of a sudden. Just release the ball. You're good at your defensive job. Just release the ball. The most worrying thing is, over the last 3 games, it's shown how much we suffer when we are pressed intensely. Ollie got the team selection wrong and the formation wrong today. Why he would choose this formation to go against a team who naturally play that formation is beyond me. Chelsea, with a better team, deserve to win, as much as I hate to admit it, because Chelsea, as far as I'm concerned, aren't that great of a team. They were smashed by Sheffield United 3-0 only a week or so ago, and we just got blown out of the water here. Now, it wasn't just down to tactics and team selection. There were some glaring errors from players you just wouldn't expect to get them from, or let's face it, you do expect to get them now. Anyway, I'm going to go on to player ratings. David De Gea, 1 out of 10. I have no more time for this goalkeeper. Sergio Romero would not have made those errors, and we all expected Sergio Romero to come in today, and everybody would have accepted it, even though he is our second choice, because he is the cup goalkeeper. Well, he lost his place today for some reason, and David De Gea cost him a potential chance to play in the final. Should have saved the first one. You could give him a bit of leeway with the first one, because you could argue it came at him too quick. But ultimately, the second one ultimately cost us the game. Now, don't get me wrong, Chelsea were the better team even at that point, but at 1-0 down, you're still in the game. 2-0 down, we were up against it. We had to get the big guns on and go full throttle, and obviously we were caught for the third. But I've said it before, I have no more time for David De Gea. The sympathy for David De Gea making mistakes is gone. Sure, he was a great player for a few years in a poor Manchester United team where it was easy to win Player of the Year, providing he was even remotely good. In the best of times for Manchester United, Alex Ferguson was ruthless with goalkeepers. Barthez, Mark Bosnich, Taibbi, Tim Howard. Make a mistake, you're gone. It sounds harsh and it isn't always practical because it's hard to get a good goalkeeper in, but we have Dean Henderson out on loan at Sheffield United now. Maybe it's time to just get him in and take the money for David De Gea, because the wage he's on, mistakes he's making, our defensive record this year is good. But when you factor in David De Gea's mistakes that have led to goals against us, then it would be far better. 1 out of 10 for David De Gea. Get rid. Thanks for everything, David. Anyway, Wan-Bissaka, he's going from bad to worse. The third goal, he gets caught on the outside again. An easy cross for the overlapping fullback, and it leads to the third goal. Now, Harry Maguire is going to get the blame for that goal from most quarters because of his price tag and because he's the captain. But as far as I'm concerned, he shouldn't be put in that position so easily. Wan-Bissaka should not be getting beat down that flank so easily. What has happened to Wan-Bissaka? He was solid. He was our player of the season up till lockdown. And sure, some better players have come in recently and they've been outperforming him. But his performances are declining. His passing is really being exposed when he's pressed as well. Centre-backs, Eric Bailly was doing okay until he had to go off. You kind of know this is coming with Eric Bailly because he is reckless. He's a good player. He's a good player, but can he stay fit? And I just don't think he can now. He's had too many years to stay fit. And he gets injured because of these kind of instances. And I don't want to be too harsh on him in this particular match, but it's understandable why he gets so many injuries. It's a 5 out of 10 for Eric Bailly. Harry Maguire, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter giving him the blame for basically this whole performance. I don't see any of that. As far as I'm concerned, he isn't to blame for this performance. It was a shocking team performance, and you could put the goalkeeping error at fault for why we lost comfortably. But as far as I'm concerned, like I said earlier, Harry Maguire is in a lose-lose situation going for that ball for the third goal. Your fullbacks cannot be getting beaten on the outside so easily. Regardless, it's a 4 out of 10 for Harry Maguire for me today. Should have scored, in my opinion, with the header he got on the end of the corner. It went wide. He needs to start guiding his headers whilst attacking the ball better. Anyway, 4 out of 10. Victor Lindelof lost his man for the first goal, which obviously put us behind at half-time. And getting in at half-time level would have made it a lot easier in the second half. Other than that, I thought it was pretty steady, to be honest, but obviously you can't lose your man like that at the top level. A 4 out of 10 for Victor Lindelof. Brandon Williams gave the ball carelessly away. That led to Chelsea's second goal. Now, of course, you expect your goalkeeper to save it, but you cannot give the ball like that away at top level, especially in a dangerous area as he did. Then he started trying too hard after that. And, you know, we aren't getting those overlapping ones we got when he first burst onto the scene. So I think his game's really dropping off at the minute. 3 out of 10 for me. Into midfield, Fred, I thought it was harsh that he got took off. A few misplaced passes, but ultimately Fred needs mobility around him and he needs to be playing consistently game in, game out. Fred is considered one of our players of the season for a reason, because he was playing consistently game after game after game. We have McTominay next to him, and whilst I don't think McTominay is better than Matic, he's certainly more mobile, so it gives him the option to give and go more. Whereas Matic is static Matic. The fridge is back as far as I'm concerned. What Fred does do is release the ball quickly. He likes to get the ball forward quickly, and it's generally 1 or 2 touch passing, which is what I want from my central midfielders. Give and go is what midfielders should be doing, but he didn't do anything particularly special, so I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. On to Matic. Like I said, Matic has had a good run of form. I couldn't argue with why he was playing because he was playing quite well, but when he first came back in, it was playing quicker football, looking up, getting the pass off quickly, releasing it quickly, 1 or 2 touch passing, but now it's back to the 4 to 5 touch static Matic. Especially in the second half, you know the ball will stick with Martial. You know Rashford's going to make those runs for you. You know the ball will stick with Mason Greenwood. Okay, James is crap, but those three players the ball will stick with. He keeps looking up, takes one touch, looks up again, takes two touch, three touch, four touch, then passes sideways or backwards. And for me, you win the game in midfield, and his passing was slow and unprogressive. And he struggles. He really struggles when he gets pressed. Now, teams haven't really pressed him much up until these last few games, and he's been playing well. He's been pretty steady. He can get his passes off. But when he's pressed, he really struggles. Man City in particular usually target Matic when they play against us because he struggles when he's pressed. He needs time to think about his passing. He can pass the ball, but he needs time to think about it. It isn't instinctive for him like it is for, say, a Fred. I go back to some of the greatest midfielders in the Premier League. Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, Patrick Vieira. 1-2 touch passing. In fact, they're not the only ones. Xabi Alonso, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, Yaya Toure, David Silva. All 1-2 touch passing. You could say Yaya Silva would dribble a little bit and Steven Gerrard took too many touches for my liking. But most of the time it was quick passing, especially from the base of midfield. That Xabi Alonso role, that Michael Carrick role. Give it as soon as you can. For me, it's a 2 out of 10 for Matic today. As far as I'm concerned, I want to see Fred play in the next game with Bruno and Pogba. I think it was harsh that he got dropped in the first place. And right now, Matic, it just isn't working for me. Sure, it gives you height, but I don't want to be a team that plays high. I want to be a team that presses and receives the ball high up the pitch and gives it straight to our forward so they can work their magic. Bruno Fernandes, easily our best player on the pitch. I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Simply because he always looked like he was trying. He was always looking for that ball. Now, Bruno does give the ball away a lot, especially in the advanced positions in the final third, because he's trying to make things happen. I don't want that to change. Like I've said in the past, I do want him to retain the ball a bit more. But as long as he's trying to make something happen in the final third, I don't mind. In the first and second third, he's quite neat and tidy with it. And he's even daring with his passes. He gets the ball from one part of the field to the next part of the field pretty quickly. Something that I really wish Matic would do. In the first half, you even see Bruno starting to come back into his own half to get the ball. And we started to see the ball getting further up the field quicker. And obviously, he scored the penalty. There was a moment in the second half where he should have slid Anthony Martial in. It was a really poor pass, but it was just a poor performance all round. Maybe 7 out of 10 is a bit generous, but I'm going to give him that. Up front, Marcus Rashford had a dire display today. Barely in the game. Knocked off the ball whenever he did get the ball. He did make a few runs in behind and get in behind and could have scored in the second half, but it's difficult on his left foot because he's not a natural left-footed player. But it's a 5 out of 10 for Marcus Rashford for me today. I want to say this. In the first half, he was practically playing up front with Daniel James, and that's like playing up front with a ghost. Daniel James could have got sent off and nobody would have noticed. So basically, all Chelsea really had to do was make sure Marcus Rashford was contained as soon as someone like Bruno Fernandes got the ball, and they kind of did that. So I'm going to give Marcus Rashford a 5 out of 10. But on to Dan James. I don't know what to say about this kid. He had a great start to the season. He's been living off that start to the season ever since. But he isn't good on the ball. He isn't that good off the ball. He's just quick and can bend it in when he gets in the right position. But the amount of times he gets in that right position is very rare. His first touch isn't very good. His link-up play isn't very good. He just isn't Manchester United quality. I have to say it. I hate to say it. Now, this beginning of the season might buy him another season, but he is vastly behind Marcus Rashford, Mason Greenwood and Anthony Martial in terms of quality. And if Jadon Sancho comes in, he falls down the pecking order further. Is he a good impact player? Well, I've not seen it yet. It's easy to say he's a good impact player because he's pacey, but you have to offer something with the ball as well. Attacks generally break down when he gets it as well. He's lacking confidence, and he can't afford to lack confidence because he doesn't have the quality to make up for that dropping confidence. 2 out of 10 for Daniel James to me. I don't understand why he played. I don't understand why Ighalo didn't play. I don't understand why Mason Greenwood didn't play, or even Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard would have offered more than Dan James today. Don't get me wrong, Jesse Lingard has to go this summer, but what was that? Onto the substitutes. Anthony Martial came on, was fouled. He should have had a free kick, was in a goal-scoring position potentially, and the Chelsea defender should have been sent off. Like I said, I don't want to blame the loss on that instance overall because we were so poor. Martial didn't really get in the game. Could have been slid in by Bruno Fernandes at the end of the game and probably would have scored. Looked like he was trying to make things happen, so I'm going to give Anthony Martial a 6 out of 10. Paul Pogba came on for Fred and basically did absolutely nothing. We really expected to go on a bit of a surge when Paul Pogba came on, and he should have come on 5 to 10 minutes earlier. Solskjaer was slow with those substitutions. In fact, he should have came on at half-time because we really needed to take the game by the scruff of the neck, especially after going 1-0 down just before half-time. But Pogba did nothing. He was closed down fast. He was sloppy on the ball. And we've seen this a lot over the last 3 games, is when Paul Pogba gets closed down as well. Sure, he can beat a man. Sometimes he pulls off a great pass. But there's the odd moment where he always gets caught napping. And I've said this before as well. The best midfielders consistently get the basic things right, and then the skills add on top of that as an extra layer to propel them to the next level. Pogba has holes in his foundation for some reason, and he really needs to cut out those holes, because if he's on form, he's the best midfielder in the world. But he makes errors you wouldn't expect average midfielders to make sometimes, and gets caught in possession far too easily. Once again, I'm not going to blame this on Pogba, because as far as I'm concerned, he should have started, but a 5 out of 10 for Paul Pogba. Didn't make the difference we needed him to, didn't take the game by the scruff of the neck, but what could he do? We were getting so outplayed tactically that what can any of the players do when the coach is being outmaneuvered so much like that? Odion Nagalo didn't really have enough time to make that much of a difference, 5 out of 10, and Fosu Mensah came on. A bit of tenacity actually when he came on, I actually liked it. He was trying to do something, obviously he can't do that much at right back offensively, but 6 out of 10 for Fosu Mensah for the effort. So now we can only really look forward to Wednesday and hopefully get the win at West Ham and put ourselves in a really comfortable position for that Champions League spot. Hopefully win by a few goals, but really need to up our game. David Moyes isn't really known for playing high intensity pressing football, so I'd be surprised if he does. But they are safe now, so I don't expect them to completely park the bus. They can play with a bit more freedom. That's a good and a bad thing, because when you play against teams with freedom like Southampton and Crystal Palace, they can try things they wouldn't normally try, and they can play without the pressure of repercussions if they lose or give the ball away. Whereas we now look like a team under pressure, and we're bottling it when the going gets tough, basically. But it is West Ham at Old Trafford, so I do expect us to get the win. Hopefully it's by more than 1 goal, so we can really put a dent in that Leicester goal difference. So even if we were to lose at Leicester, maybe there's a chance that even losing by 1 goal, it will mean that we still get Champions League. Anyway, that's all for this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Do you agree with what I said, or do you hold different opinions? I look forward to reading them. Make sure you smash a like on the video if you thought Bruno Fernandes was man of the match today. Anyway, until next time, guys, talk soon.